So you've been on your path studying this anxious avoidant thing. You probably identify as the anxious guy. You have dated or are dating the avoidant woman. And you're starting to understand some things. You probably know, or you're going to know soon, that women value safety above all else. They might not say that. By the way, fun fact about women. If they have to tell you really directly what they're needing, that means you weren't paying attention and you didn't care, especially when they've indirectly told you many times. Again, I don't write the rules. I'm not saying it should be this way. However, it feels like you should have just been present enough to care and to pay attention, and you should have known. So for them to say, hey, I need to feel safe and here's what it means. A lot of times we're not paying attention or they don't communicate it. Women value safety enormously. They're the smaller, weaker of the genders. You can take a man and a woman that are the same size. The man will virtually always overpower the woman. Sexual abuse is a very different topic for women. It's happened to a lot of women or adult women. It doesn't happen to adult men very often. There's much more to it than that in terms of safety, emotional safety, decision-making safety. Is the guy I'm dating, or my husband, do I trust him that he's gonna do what he says he's gonna do with the money, or did he blow our house fund in Las Vegas? So women value safety. And if you've read some of these books and you know that, and whether you're going through a breakup, you just had one, you might start to think, well, how do I become more safe for her? Which is a great step in the right direction. A lot of times as the anxious guy or the nice guy, we ultimately cannot be trusted. Here's why. Because even in the question of how do I need to show up differently to be safe for her, that can be very action-based, which actually doesn't work. And what can be underneath that at a sub level is that's the pleaser. Well, this last relationship didn't work out. What do I have to do to get her back? What do I have to do to get another one? And paradoxically, chances are, let's say you just had a breakup and you want her back. She doesn't want you to change to get her back, I can tell you historically that'll almost never work. I appreciate your intention, but it won't work. What she really wants is you to get yourself back, to get right with you, to show up for you, and from that place, attract her back. It's super different, sounds like a small nuance, because as the anxious guy, what we do sometimes is we see a woman's life, we're not clear on where we're going or our purpose. We have this wound in our inner child that we didn't even know was there. So now that starts to feel better being connected to her, right? I don't want to lose this love. I haven't had this love since I was, whenever, or maybe never. So now the woman becomes his purpose. So she knows, even if you're a nice guy, which she probably loves but ultimately hates, even though she might not tell you that. Good thing this video's here. She can't respect you if you're being a pleaser. She needs to know that you can say no. Women will test the fuck out of you. Women will pick fights to see what you'll do. Women will tell you they want to do something, or they want to go off with their girlfriends and something you don't like, that they already know you would say no to. They want to know that you can stand in your center, have the balls to say, no, that's not going to work. And they may fight you more. God clearly has a sense of humor, huh? To have men and women, but she wants to know. Think of it like she's been driving the car of life her whole life. And you're kind of new with her, but she sees you driving. But she wants to know that she can totally relax in the passenger seat and look at mountains and butterflies and the ocean and shit. And she knows that you can drive no matter what. We live in a different time where there's a lot of reverse polarity, where men started in the 60s, 70s, 80s, started developing their feminine side more. Women, their masculine. We're in a lot of relationships. We think we're connected to our heart as men. A lot of times we're connected to our emotions, which if those are more frequently flowing than hers, you're the dominant feminine energy in the relationship. I hate to tell you, I wish someone would have told me when I showed up that way in the past. I didn't want to admit it to myself at times. And then she has to drive, so she cannot relax in the passenger seat. And it's pretty binary. You cannot have two people drive the car of life. Now you know from your research, or you know now from this video, that women really value safety. What we can then do is go deeper into the pleaser and try to learn this breathing technique, or learn the right thing to say, learn some action thing. It's kind of like the pickup artist industry in a way, as a metaphor, not the same. But you're learning a tactic or a manipulation in that industry, especially how to get the outcome, which isn't get in a relationship in the pickup artist industry, it's get laid. But now we can have this subtle energy of being a pleaser, of how do I say the right thing? Or, I got to go to this class. I got to get my wife back. I got to get my girlfriend back. Or I broke up with them, but I shouldn't have. Or they broke up with me, but I got to get them back. You have a part of you that's just a 5-year-old boy who's scared. And I used to not believe in this. It took me years of arguing with the concept. It's so fucking true. If you have neglected unknowingly, if you would have known better, you would have done better. This 5-year-old boy, for years, for decades, there's a lot of emotion there. This 5-year-old is not rational. If you're 35 or 40 or 50, whatever, you can be rational. 5-year-old, not rational. And the best way to show up as a man connected to his heart, connected to his balls, connected to his power, is to create safety in yourself first. Not safety to win her back, not a technique. And I applaud you and I admire you that you're out there, you're doing something, you're trying, you're reading a book, you're going to work with plant medicine, you're joining a men's group, you're working with a coach, therapist. Those are great things. This just popped in, so I'll share it. One of the best pieces of advice, I think it was, first or second breakup, almost a decade ago. I remember my girlfriend at the time, this hurt, but it was true, said, you've been kind of like conflicted. I think you've always meant to do the right thing, but you've kind of been back and forth. And I think you've actually told the truth. It seems that way. She goes, you know what I'm really looking for? She goes, I want a guy who knows who he is and knows where he's going. Back then, that relationship started 11 years ago. I was not that. I thought I was. I was 29, I'm 40 now. When you can talk to yourself and self-soothe yourself, and you don't need the opinion of 15 different friends or this seminar or this coach or this whatever, because sometimes that can cloud us where we're so freaked out, we're so anxious, we're talking to everyone knows. And now we got 15 different opinions to listen to. I was talking to someone about that today. That you know who you are, you know what you want, you know where you're going. And you have enough wisdom and enough courage to, when you get freaked out inside, to let your little boy know that you got him, that he's safe. When you start to have an internal safety, not $10 million, that's nice, but that's not going to do it. Not some technique from a book of these are the 7 things that need to happen to make her feel safe and say this and do this. But you have an energy, a presence, a nervous system that exudes safety between you and you. and that's your point of attraction. That's when everything really starts to shift. It's not that you're perfect, but you can feel that anxiety, that fear rise up, and you don't need to turn on 8 YouTube videos, even though you're watching this on YouTube. You don't need to call a friend. You don't need to call an ex-girlfriend. You don't need to, whatever. You can just sit with yourself. Maybe you're uncomfortable. Maybe you cry. And you let yourself know that you're gonna be okay. That you're safe. That you got your own back. When that becomes a more and more conditioned state, the women you attract will be radically different. I invite you, I challenge you to start there and start talking to the little boy inside. And build a relationship between you and you to create true safety here. And from there, everything else changes, baby.